We're at Santopod for round 2 of the MSA British Drag Racing Championship. It's the first big international event of the year, and as always, the field's boosted by lots of European visitors. With 20 pro mods entered this weekend, plus cars and bikes from many more classes, right up to top fuel, we're going to get a lot of rubber laid down on the track. We've got Chris Isaac still trying to get his licensing runs out of the way, and several cars making their first appearances of the year. Plus, of course, many of the regular British competitors, including Rick Garrett in a beautiful multicoloured Willys, who's now a complete spare motor ready to drop in if needed.
Well, basically we've still got the smaller engine in there, but it's not going to run that much slower, hopefully. So, just basically see how it goes with the weather this time round as well. You can push it a lot harder if you know you can just get the new one out of the trailer and bolt it in that night. So yeah, it does make it a lot easier.
And a welcome return for Sweden's Mats Eriksson in the outrageous looking Green Goblin.
Yeah, we have made a lot of small adjustments, but the most important thing that we have a new crew member, and that is Alan Flamholk. And we hope his experience from the States can help us a little to get on the track again, because we have been a little lost for a couple of seasons and have some very good runs and some not so good done, and now we hope we...
There's a welcome return for last year's MSA champion Bruno Bader from Switzerland, and also the first time we've seen him this year, Andy Frost with tuner Shane Tecklenburg over from the States to help set the car up.
Yeah, Shane T, he's the man, and he's here to help us go fast again, to try and set some more records. What he usually does at this time of year is set the car up for the rest of the year. So we hope to set a record this weekend and then go on during the year.
We sort of have a nice baseline now that we've run the car a lot, and particularly last year. And I think we would be, out of our mind to go up there and try to do something crazy, particularly if we get a limited number of runs. So, we're probably going to do the same thing that everybody else is going to do, which is just try to go from one end of the track to the other and, make a reasonable run. Because I think, if we get limited to one qualifying session or something like that, we are almost at an advantage, because we have a car that, when we make a mistake, goes a little bit slower than when we make the best run we've ever made. And so even though those numbers don't add up to shocking performance in the world of Pro Mod and against some of these guys, when the track's no good and they haven't run their cars in 8 months, that we almost have an advantage.
Well, the lack of track time is not helping Chris Isaacs and Spencer Tram get their brand new Dusters set up and licensed. This is their first attempt of the weekend before Saturday's qualifying session, and they need one more sub 7.40 second run to get the licence done. But it wasn't to happen this time round.
European racing as a whole, they're just at such a disadvantage because of the weather and the limited number of chances. Look, based on the number of chances they got to try and do things, I think they're right on par with the Americans. I think if you limit the Americans to 25 runs a year, I think the performance would suffer quite a bit.
So it's late Saturday evening. We're into the first of 4 scheduled qualifying sessions. First pair we see, 2 nitrous cars, both from Sweden. Near lane is the more traditional modern-day Mustang of Roger Johansson. On the far side of the racetrack, the multicoloured Corvette of Mats Victor. Looks like problems off the line for Mats, and then a big wiggle for Roger Johansson. Still goes through with a 733 at 134 miles an hour. Bigger speed for Mats Victor. But it's obviously ET that counts in qualifying. So 2 big burnouts from 2 supercharged cars from Sweden. Mats Eriksson, the Green Goblin, we heard from him a little earlier, up against Bruno Bader, the MSA champ from last year. Mats has tested quite extensively in Sweden before coming over for this weekend. That's his son, LG, guiding him into stage. Bruno, no testing at all. He almost runs like he never needs it. Mats Eriksson, wheels in the air, storming locks it in all over the place. Oh wow, up on 2 wheels from side to side. Oh, I thought he'd save that. Mats slaps the wall and then just goes back across the racetrack and tags the other wall as well. I'm sure Mats is absolutely A-OK. Let's watch that again in replay. Oh, and all over the place, like you can see for Mats. And unfortunately, by the time the track was cleared up, we'd reached the curfew, and all cars still to run meant that the whole session would be null and void, with it all to do again tomorrow. So what were Mats Eriksson's thoughts on that unfortunate accident?
We think the wishbone was broke. The wishbone, that is tubes that holding the rear end in the right direction, because it handled very strange when I get off the gas pedal, because I get some tire shakes, and was not really tire shake that. I was nearly going to the left side of the wall, and I had a high wheel stand. I must take it down to get the steering so I could steer out from the wall. And when I did that, I have done that hundreds of times without any problem, but now the car reacted so strange. So I get sideways immediately, and I had full up to steer it in the right direction, and I was steer it from left to right, I don't remember really, but it was a real scary ride. You're a chassis builder, so the car shouldn't be any problem. I need to order new struts from the States, and the rest we are building. The engine was running all the time, and I think the car is actually all right. It's the bad thing is the body. It's a nice body, but we have a spare one. We have the old one at home, so we maybe can use. So the plan is that we should have it together to Finland and keep on.
Another driver who crashed big time last season, unfortunately, was Graham Ellis from the UK. And he's here this weekend helping his family with their race cars.
Yeah, Gareth's doing well, Katie's doing okay, but I miss it, you know. I feel really left out, you know. I just wait. Andy's building my new car, and, you know, that's going to be an eye-opener, you know, because of some of the innovations that have been brought forward into that car, which Andy, cheekily enough, has said that if it works on my car, he'll change his car and do the same. You know, it was my mandate to him to look at everything, you know, and leave nothing unscathed when it comes to personal safety, because this stuff does happen. It is a risk. It can happen to any single car out here. And anybody who thinks it doesn't happen is a fool. And I need to be sure that next time it happens, I will also survive. I won't come out until I could physically withstand that same accident all over again. You know, my neck is now fixed, my shoulder's fixed, you know, I'm good. Just my lower back, when that's fixed, I'm done. I'm back in the car.
Well, this is Graham's old super modified car, now driven by Kev Perkins and competing in Comp Eliminator. But why is Andy Frost in the other lane? Well, it turns out there was a technical rule infringement, so Andy won't be allowed to be racing Pro Mod this weekend. So this is qualifying in Comp Eliminator. And a great run for Andy Frost. He would have easily qualified in Pro Mod with that. And another rule infringement from Mats Victor as well means we won't be seeing that Corvette out this weekend again either. But no such problems for Andy Robinson.
Well, right now we're just in a situation where we're testing. You know, we haven't really got a great baseline for the car, so every single run for us is a test pass, and we're just trying to learn the car, sneak up on it slowly so we don't, you know, miss the window of opportunity.
Well, it's Sunday morning and we're into the rerun of the first qualifying session, and it's the second attempt for licensing for Chris Isaacs. It didn't happen on that run, sadly. Well, you can see we're on board with Andy Robinson. That's what it's like to be a passenger in a 6-second, 200-mile-an-hour Pro Mod car. You can see everything that goes on, everything that goes into the car as well. That looks like a very difficult car. They're very difficult cars to control, but build, maintain everything that goes into it as well. So Andy and the team, like Luke said, trying to sneak up on the combination. This car has huge potential. It's had really, really good first low numbers, i.e. 60 foot 330, but if they can just get rid of the dreaded tyre shake, it'd be so quick. He's up against Roger Moore in qualifying. Oh, once again, big shake for Andy Robinson. You can see the brake lights come off and on as he pedals the car, keeps his boot in it, as only Andy can. 666, 231. Well, Andy gets a number on the board. Roger off the gas, only runs an 11-second pass this time round. two more huge, crowd-pleasing smoky burnouts. This pair is Rick Garrett, as we've already spoken to earlier, up against Tero Laukkanen from Finland. His first time ever at Sansapod with the twin-turbo Mustang. Oh, and Tero getting right out of shape as the power comes in. No such problems for Rick Garrett. Nice run, 679, 194 miles an hour. Tero all over the place. Watch the Mustang on the far side. He actually spins the tyres before half track. So our next pair, Jean Doulemont in the far lane, the nitrous Camaro from down there in France, up against Andy Wright. Well, problems from Andy Wright, but Jean with his first, yes, it's his first 6-second run in a couple of years, 687.202. Next pair out, from Germany, Norbert Kuno up against David Vector from the Netherlands, the MPM Camaro. Shape for David. Nice looking run though for Norbert, and Norbert indeed goes to the top of the pile for a moment at 620. No shoot for David Vector in the shutdown area, spins the car out. Oh, backs into the wall slightly. That was a bit heart-stopping. Anyway, we're back in the pits at the moment, and we're going to talk to Tero Laukkanen's crew chief from the States. It's Brad Personet.
These guys are so eager to get out there and get going. It's just, holy cow, hang on. And none of them have any fear. And I have to take a step back, because I know I've been in the seat numerous times saying you got to know when to say when, but these guys are so eager to go, and it's the only chance they get. They'll push the limits a little further than I'd like to see. So that's why we just got this thing dialed back, and we want to make sure it's safe. We'll put on in a weekend in the States anywhere from 20 to 30 in a test session, and that's what these guys can get in a season. By the time they get something figured out, it's time to put it away for the year. And they're always dealing with different conditions, the rain, the racetracks. They're dealt with what they get to race on.
The balance is shifting slightly. I think you're going to see more and more turbo cars in particular coming out, just because they've got so much horsepower. Nitrous cars, we're seeing a few come out. Don't know if there's any more in the pipeline. So it makes it more interesting for sure. For us right now, I think blowers are the way to go. We know a lot about blown engines. We've been running them since 2005. Having said that, if we get to the point where we can't remain competitive with a blown combination, we will change.
Okay, we're straight out with more qualifying. Still no luck licensing for Chris Isaacs. Next out, Mickey Gallquist. Now blue Camaro far lane up against Roger Moore, the Nitrous Viper from the UK. Mickey with a little bit of shake. But you wouldn't know he'd had a winter layoff. 599, 240 straight to the top of the pile. Lots of rebuilding work gone on that car for Mickey.
Yeah, he's going to be really tough to beat, and he's done a lot of work with his car over the winter. He's completely changed the bodywork. I know he's got some new parts in the engine, and to run a 5 on the second pass is pretty awesome.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with the second run. The first wasn't too good, but we changed some parts on the car for the aerodynamics and the wing and all that, the rear of the car. So, and we haven't been able to test it much, so we're happy that we could get down in a pretty good way. I think we can, depending on the weather and the conditions on the track, but I'm sure we can go down to some low weight at some point during the season. So.
Well, we're back to qualifying. Robert Houston in the right lane and Andy Robinson again with the onboard camera. Oh, and again with tyre shake off the throttle. You can almost see it going through his head going, yes, no, I want it to go fast, but with the tyre shake and everything. Andy doing a great job as always of controlling it. Robert straight down the lane, no problems at all. 6.10, 236 miles an hour. So as we wait for the final qualifying session, there's just one more chance for Chris Isaacs to get licensed and get qualified.
The track is actually a lot better here this weekend, and the tune-up that we had in the car at Easter isn't really strong enough, so every time we start levelling off on the boost curve it shakes the tyres. So we keep putting a bit more in and we get a little bit further down the track, but on the last run when it shook the tyres, it shook one of the transmission lines loose, which then put oil under the right hand tyre, so then every time I hit the throttle it turned right. Yeah, we've got two courses of action really. We can either put some more boost in, or we can take timing out at the point where it starts shaking the tyres and try and calm it down that way. But because we've got to run 7:39 or quicker, we haven't got an awful lot of leeway to start taking power out.
Well, here we go then, the last chance saloon for Chris Isaacs, the Direct Plastics Duster. Great launch. Well, he's on and off the throttle already. Actually, he's on and off the throttle all the way down, but he does it. 7:06, 198 miles an hour. Chris Isaacs in the field, and with his licence signed as well. Next up, Norbert Kuno, far lane. Mark Mayhausen, near lane. The MPM car on an absolute charge goes straight to the top of the pile. 591, 241 miles an hour. That Andy Robinson built car really storming again in 2014. Well, the man who built the car next up in the lane, Andy Robinson, one more time to try and get down the racetrack. Up against Andy Wright, far side of the track. Well, Andy with another storming launch, but still on and off the throttle. 6:33, 2:28. Still improves though. 7:23 for Andy Wright. Nice try. Okay, Tero Laukkanen, the monster horsepower in that Mustang. Let's hope they can get it to the racetrack this time. Up against David Vengton. David's all over the place. Tero as well. Getting very skittish with that turbo car. Once they get that calmed down, that thing's going to fly. 675, 181. Not bad at all. Well, your next pair, two cars, they did fight all summer long last year for the MSA Championship. Roger Moore, far lane. Bruno Barda, near lane. Bruno all over the lane. Roger Moore out the throttle quite quickly. 6:10 for Bruno. Goes to the number 3 spot. Get that man a straitjacket. What a run that was. Okay, far lane. Two guys from Sweden. Matthias Falken, the supercharged Firebird, up against Roger Johansson. Oh, and they're almost heading for each other. Roger gets out of shape and just saves it. No real representative times for both of them, unfortunately, that time round. That's why Pro Mods are so volatile. Okay, Mickey Goldquist, near lane. Robert Houston, far side of the racetrack. You can bet they're going to be throwing the kitchen sink at it this time. Well, it didn't work for Mickey G. Robert, nice run down the Alamo lane with a 6:11, 2:34. So the final qualifying table looks like this. 2 cars in the 5s, 3 more in the teams, but number 1 spot goes to Mark Mayhausen from the Netherlands.
We are very pleased. It was a huge job that we did to the car this winter to refresh everything, look into it if there are cracks or other damage to the chassis and things. We made some changes, and after just 2 rounds, yesterday qualifying, we're back where we were and now we can try to step up. So let's go for 80s. We can most certainly go faster if we do it right and if the tracks accept what we're doing. The car is capable of it, and I hope Mick also can step up and we meet in the final. I hope we love to race each other. Yeah.
And on Eliminations Day, we awoke to rain, and not a very good forecast, unfortunately. When we went to bed Sunday night, it was fine, but by the time we got up on Monday, unfortunately, it was raining. It finally stopped about midday. The track staff got to work drying the track. And by mid-afternoon, the track was dry, the fans were ready, and the cars were towed down to the start line, and then it rained again. So in the end, we got no eliminations and just qualifying points. So going into round 3 at the Santa Pod Racers Club Summer Nationals, the championship is still completely open.